Hello, and welcome to the Veterans Ascend weekly podcast. Today, we are honored to talk with Michael Linnington. Michael serves as the Chief Executive Officer of Wounded Warrior Project, WWP. He brings 35 years of military experience and leadership to the organization. Prior to joining WWP, Michael was the first permanent director of the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency. Following his retirement as a Lieutenant General from the U.S. Army, he served as the Military Deputy to the Undersecretary of Defense, Personnel and Readiness, and as Commanding General, Military District of Washington and Commander, Joint Force Headquarters, National Capital Region. We have the privilege today to hear about WWP, why their program and community support is so critical, Michael's insights on transition, and his perspectives on putting your best foot forward. So Mike, thank you so much for your time today. Please tell us about the programs at Wounded Warrior Project.
Robyn, thanks for having me on. It's really important the work you do, and certainly highlighting the exceptionalism of our nation's wounded, ill, and injured service members and their families is something we take very seriously and something we're profoundly committed to. Since 2003, Wounded Warrior Project has been tireless advocates for our nation's wounded, improving their lives and the lives of millions of other warriors and their families. It's important to realize that, warriors have paid their dues on the battlefield. Transition is difficult, so when they get home, we feel that we owe them our best efforts in helping them transition well, and Wounded Warrior Project provides free services in a variety of areas, primarily mental health, career counseling, and long-term rehabilitative care. We can get into that in a little more detail, but we also provide more than 5,000 connection events across the country that allow veterans to get together in groups, reform those bonds of friendship and camaraderie that they enjoyed while they were in uniform, heal mentally and physically, and then most importantly, transition financially into jobs and leadership positions in the communities in which they settle. Because we all know that our veterans are an amazing asset, both while they're in uniform and after they transition home. So giving them the opportunities to succeed in business or as teammates in any organization is really important. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. And you're right. Being able to provide them the support that they need, and that is really important. So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but highlight why organizations like Wounded Warrior Project and the community support is so important to our veterans and military families and the communities themselves, actually.
Well, it's a great question, and it's a great point. I mean, people wonder why we even have nonprofit or community-based organizations that help veterans when we have the Department of Veterans Affairs, a $200+ billion government organization that provides health care and benefits for our nation's veterans. We all know that's not nearly enough. We know that veterans come from communities all across the country, and we know veterans ultimately transition back into communities, either where they joined the military from or in locations where they have families, loved ones, medical care, or opportunities, jobs, careers. It does take a community, and I think if you think of the fact that only, roughly 1 in 100 American citizens serves in uniform, it really does require the community to reintegrate that veteran when that veteran transitions either through retirement or through 1 or 2 terms of service or after being injured into the community fabric that helps them succeed. And we know that when communities are involved, when nonprofit organizations, government organizations, faith-based organizations, and others all work together, those are the most effective programs. And there are communities all across the country that do this extremely well. And in the 25 locations where Wounded Warrior Project has staff and teammates assigned, we know those communities are stronger by our presence and our willingness and our effort in collaborating together to help serve the emerging needs of our young veterans.
Absolutely. That you're so absolutely right, Michael. It's such a kind of a full circle kind of cycle process that, by helping the veterans get back integrated back into their communities, that will help those communities thrive. So great work and great points. So give us your best piece of advice for a transitioning service member or veteran.
I would say, first of all, have a plan. A lot of times, veterans don't plan when they transition. they're in military service. We do a great job of planning. We usually have somebody supervising those plans and telling you what to do while you're in uniform. But I think you need to start early, so have a plan. I think that's at least a year out. I'm happy to know that the Department of Defense is supporting transition efforts a year out now. I think that's important, and there are many programs and services provided on post through the Transition Assistance Program or others that help veterans at least have a good plan. Secondly, I would say is be willing to flex off of that plan. Many veterans change jobs very quickly after they get out of the military. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I think that rather than stagnate yourself or see an area where you're not going to be successful, be willing and committed to shifting quickly if you know that your initial plan isn't working out. And then thirdly, I would say most importantly is set realistic expectations. Military service is important. I think it definitely gives you a leg up as you transition into civilian careers. But I also know that many times veterans will rely on their military service as a means to, they perceive as joining organizations at the top. I think everybody has to pay their dues in some regard. So I would say set expectations, get your foot in the door, work hard, and then advance, get promoted as you did while you were in the service. A few people join the military as sergeants and sergeants majors and colonels. They all start as privates and lieutenants and they work their way up. And I think the same is true in civilian pursuits. So when you get out of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, or Coast Guards, have a realistic plan, work hard, be disciplined, and lead by example. And really, that leading by example is what's ingrained in all of our military service members, and I think what helps them succeed marvelously in the civilian world.
Absolutely. And that's great advice, Michael. Thank you for that. And I think one of the things at Veterans Ascend, we try to help the veterans understand what their skills are so they can look for those careers and companies that will promote those skills and give them the opportunity to utilize those skills. There's a lot of studies out there that say if you utilize the skills you have in a career, you'll be much more productive, engaged, and those kind of things. So letting the veterans know those, but as you point out, flex when you might not think that your skills fit a certain career, but be open to those things and be open to the path that you may go down that you may not expect. So great. So when a veteran is struggling to find a civilian career, what would you recommend to put their best foot forward?
I would say, of course, first and most importantly is network. There are many, many opportunities to network in communities where veterans settle. I would look for opportunities to get involved in networking events with veteran service organizations, with community-based organizations. I would practice your 45-second, 3-minute, and 10-minute elevator pitch. 10-minute pitch is probably more for the hiring manager than it is for the elevator. Really work hard, leverage the contacts you've made while you were in the military and as you're transitioning, and then when you get home, be persistent. I mean, don't let the first no set you back. I've heard studies that say it takes 10 contacts before you get a real firm lead, 10 contacts with a single company before you'll reach the right person that will help you find employment. I don't know if that's true or not, but I would say find organizations like Veterans Ascend, let them help you along the way, listen to their advice, and then obviously use the skills and values you've learned in the military: leadership, commitment, discipline, attention to detail, all those things that you trained in while you were in the military and helped you succeed, and bring those same values into your pursuit of civilian career, and then work hard and then just let the rest happen.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Michael. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you very much for all that Wounded Warrior Project does for our military families and our communities. Listeners, for more information on Wounded Warrior Project, please visit their website at www.woundedwarriorproject.org. And for more information on Veterans Ascend or to sign up today, please visit our website at www.veteransascend.com. Thank you so much and have a great day.